conference. Today, you'll hear from several speakers from the state legislature, environmental advocates, public health, and labor support on House Bill 3739. This news conference is being streamed by Blue Room Stream. For the Q&A, please text or email me at Colleen, COLLEEN, at ilenviro.org, or text at 309-643-0298. We have disabled the chat and Q&A for the video quality for Blue Room Stream. This webinar will be recorded, and the recording will be available by request in about an hour or so after this press conference. Again, here's some of the housekeeping notes. This is my email and cell phone, and we'll be sure to share a recording of the event after an hour or so as well. My name is Colleen Smith with the Illinois Environmental Council, and we'll kick off our news conference today with State Senator Melinda Bush.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm State Senator Melinda Bush. I represent the 31st District in the state of Illinois. So as you'll hear today from Mary Carmen, and as you already know from events in cities like Flint, Michigan, Newark, New Jersey, Galesburg, Illinois, and countless other communities in our state and nation, lead service lines are a health threat that costs us billions of dollars, poison our children, and undermines our residents' confidence in their municipal governments. I've heard from people like Celeste Flores and Waukegan about the need to address this problem. We as a state have an opportunity to address this public health threat in House Bill 39. The bill requires every community in Illinois to find and replace every lead service line in the state. This bill is the product of years of negotiations among environmental advocates, civic organizations, public health advocates, water utilities, and municipal stakeholders. It draws from best practices among our peer states while acknowledging Illinois' unique circumstances, like dense infrastructure and high numbers of lead service line in some communities. It is a feasible path forward, setting reasonable timelines for completing the work. It is an equitable path forward, requiring that every community in Illinois tackle this problem that disproportionately afflicts, Black and Latinx communities. One of the reasons we need this bill so badly now is that tackling this problem is a major long-term job engine. By replacing every lead service line in Illinois, we can create up to 11,000 jobs and $115 billion in economic activity every year. And that's before we even consider the money we're saving on education, healthcare, and criminal justice costs related to lead exposure. That's why I'm really proud to sponsor House Bill 3739. It's time for this bill to pass. And that's why I'm calling on all of my colleagues in the Senate to vote yes on this bill when it comes to the floor in the next weeks. A vote yes on this bill will create jobs, provide equity, and solve a public health crisis. It's absolutely critical that we get this done now. Thank you so very much. I'm going to turn it back over to Colleen.
Thank you so much, Senator Bush, for your leadership on this issue and for all that you do for the environment and public health. Next, we'll turn it over to House sponsor of House Bill 3739, Representative Lamont Robinson. Oh, Rep. Robinson, you'll have to unmute very briefly. There you go.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. Lamont Robinson, I represent the 5th District in the Illinois General Assembly. At the onset, allow me to take a moment to thank my colleagues from both sides of the aisle in the House for passing this important piece of legislation. Through my chamber a few weeks ago, I think that we, if I may, take a moment, and if you could please give my colleagues in the House a round of applause. I want to talk about why this bill is important to me and why I shepherd this bill through the House. One of the most important reasons, as Senator Bush noted in her remarks, is racial equity. which is extremely important. Illinois is estimated to have 1/8 of all lead service lines in the country. The toxic infrastructure in our communities in every region of the state, from Cairo to Rockford, Moline, Kankakee, and in my hometown, Chicago. Although this is a statewide problem, we also know that this toxic infrastructure disproportionately affects Illinois' people of color. 65% of Illinois Black and Latinx populations and 42% of the Asian American and Native American populations live in communities that contain 94% of the state's lead service lines. Meanwhile, only 30% of the state's white population lives in these communities. This means that people of color in Illinois are up to twice as likely to be living with this toxic lead service lines than our white Illinoisans. This is clearly environmental injustice. This bill will eliminate the environmental injustice. It will also ensure that people in color in Illinois get their fair share up to 11,000 of the jobs that will be created by this bill, as Senator Bush stated a little earlier. I call on my colleagues in the Senate to pass this bill, just as your bipartisan colleagues in the House did. Thank you so very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Representative Robinson, and we are looking forward to having that same bipartisan support in the Senate in a few weeks here. Next, we'll turn it over to child care provider Mari Carmen Macias.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thanks for this opportunity. My name is Mari Carmen Macias, and I have been a licensed childcare provider here in the Chicago Belmont Craigie neighborhood for over 13 years. I have helped organize a network of over 400 childcare providers like me. We care a lot about the children we watch, and we want to keep them safe from harm. But there is one danger that we cannot control, and that is the lead in our water pipes. Lead causes lifetime damage, and children are the most vulnerable. But when providers like me find out that they have high levels of lead, there is no clear guidance, and people just don't know what to do. They fail to fix the problem, or it worse. The problem is going to make it worse. Some people are boiling water, which concentrates lead levels. Some childcare providers have been given, special filter jars, but they are filtering for all the wrong things. They are not removing lead. My own daughter, has to install a big whole house filter, but in the end, it did not completely remove the lead, and now she has to have, her water delivered. Some people even paid out of pocket, to remove their lead service lines to be replaced, but that cost between $20,000 and $25,000. And the construction disturbed the lines and increased lead levels. We need guidance and assistance from the state to help fix this problem. Compliance is unclear, and too much responsibility falls on the shoulders of providers like me. Eliminating lead from our pipes is essential for keeping our childcare license in good standing. But more importantly, this is about the next generation, our children. I want my family to be safe, but also I want my children that I watch to be healthy, but all the children in my communities, in all the communities in Illinois. Thank you.
Thank you, Mari Carmen. Next, I'd like to introduce Rick Turvin with the Illinois Pipe Trades Association.
Hey, thank you, Colleen. Good morning. My name is Rick Turvin, and I am the Legislative and Political Director for the Illinois Pipe Trades Association. We represent 19 local unions and approximately 30,000 union plumbers, pipe fitters, and sprinkler fitters across Illinois. We stand today with Senator Bush, Representative Robinson, and all the community and environmental activists here today in support of House Bill 3739. Every person in Illinois deserves access to safe, clean drinking water. And one of the largest pressing issues is the need for a statewide lead service line replacement program. House Bill 3739 is a necessary step in addressing this vast problem. The The bill creates a thorough plan addressing many of the legal, financial, and logistical challenges needed to implement a program of this scale. With such a large public health undertaking, there will be an additional sizable economic benefit and creation of job opportunities for many years. This cannot come at a better time as we prioritize recovery from record unemployment during the COVID crisis. This will assist many construction workers who suffered the slowdowns over the past year, as well as help provide new, good-paying job opportunities for many Illinois residents from all the communities across the state. There are over 2,500 apprentices currently in pipe trades apprenticeship programs in Illinois, and we expect those numbers will rise as the need for skilled workers increases in the water-related industries. But the time to act is now. The problem will never be resolved without a comprehensive solution such as House Bill 3739. As such, we urge the leaders to prioritize the passage of this vital public health legislation so we can begin the work of rebuilding our state's water infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rick, for all of your support. Just a brief moment of housekeeping. We'll have one more speaker before we get into Q&A. And again, if you have questions, please text me at 309-643-0298, or you can email me at colleen@ilenviro.org. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Jeremy Orr with the Natural Resources Defense Council.
Thanks, Colleen, and thank you to Senator Bush and Representative Robinson for your leadership on this critical issue. Again, my name is Jeremy Orr, and I serve as a senior attorney for the Natural Resources Defense Council Safe Water Initiative. With an estimated 6 to 10 million lead service lines, lead drinking water is one of the biggest threats to human health in the United States. For years, NRDC has worked to get lead pipes out of the ground throughout the country in places like Michigan, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, to name a few. And it has become increasingly clear, water systems cannot keep waiting for a crisis to strike before they take the steps necessary to fix the problem. Because by the time the crisis happens, it's already too late. And unfortunately, over the years, we've seen very little action from our federal government to address this issue of lead in our drinking water, which is why it's more critical than ever for Illinois' legislature to step up and take bold action on lead service line replacement. The public health threat posed by outdated lead drinking water infrastructure in Illinois is greater than that faced by any other state in the country. As a state with the most lead service lines in the country, essentially every Illinoisan is at risk of exposure to lead contaminated drinking water, noting the environmental injustice that Black and Latinx Illinoisans are twice as likely to live in communities with lead service lines. However, this threat should be seen as a significant opportunity for Illinois to be a national leader on tackling this toxic infrastructure. And that leadership should start with the passage of equitable legislation that applies the best practices from cities and states across the country. And by tackling this problem now, Illinois can be ahead of the pack in showing the federal government that we're ready to put infrastructure dollars to work. Both Congress and the current administration are making major commitments to invest in upgrading the nation's infrastructure. And every state is making its case for those funds. There's no better way for Illinois to show that it's ready than by passing legislation that not only mandates lead service line replacement, but also prescribes a timeline and requires community water systems to put forth an inventory and a lead service line replacement plan. With that, it's time for Illinois to get lead pipes out of the ground and put them where they belong, in the history books. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. On behalf again of the Illinois Environmental Council, my name is Colleen Smith. I'm the Deputy Director. IEC has been working on this legislation since 2017, and I'm so grateful to the leadership of our sponsors, the advocates you've heard from today, partnerships with stakeholders that weren't here, and broad support from residents throughout this entire state. We are closer than ever to finally passing the Lead Service Line Replacement and Notification Act. The problem of lead service lines is far from new, and Illinois has an opportunity today with House Bill 3739 to take action and comprehensively address this issue. We urge the Senate to swiftly pass this bill to prevent another lead crisis and protect the lives of more than 350,000 children at risk of lead poisoning, and in the process, create thousands of jobs statewide. So thank you all for coming to the news conference, and we'll take Q&A. I have not yet received any questions. But again, I'll repeat that my cell phone is 309-643-0298. If anyone has questions, and this news conference was recorded, and we'll be sharing that recording as well. We'll give it a minute. Okay, well, I will also note that the press release should be in your inboxes now, and it has contact information from Mandy Burrell Booth, as well as Tucker Berry, our communications director. And if you have any further questions, please reach out. And we again thank the folks today for coming to this news conference and the strong support we have to get this bill over the finish line this spring. Thank you.
Thank you very much.